Good evening. Ira Epstein with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Thursday evening, October 17th, 2024. Interesting day. European Central Bank cut rates. You know, yesterday I told you I was doing a 5-minute special, and it was on the website for you to look at. It's there on YouTube. You'll be able to go into YouTube and see it, I'm sure. And it's talking about the ECB starting the ball rolling. They'll cut 25 basis points. Then we're going to get the Bank of England, Canada, the United States, all four, I think, are going to go 25. The only one I'm concerned about, to be honest with you, is us, the United States. If you had strong data coming out on jobs, I'm concerned. It's too soon to know if that'll be the case. We're only at the 17th of October. But when I saw today that retail sales were up as strong as they were, it just has me wondering, when does this market ever stop? And it so far hasn't. So it'll be interesting to see if the Fed goes into a pause or a 25-point cut. At this moment, I'm still in the 25-point cut camp. The stock market, never ending, especially in the S&P, new highs, as you can see, not by a dramatic amount. And look at the size of the range. It was very narrow today. So we've gotten up to a point where at any point here you can see a bit of profit taking. That can happen. We saw the event take place in the Mideast where the head of Hamas was taken out by Israeli forces. And now the question is who steps in, and the ideal situation would be nobody. That the Hamas situation goes away. Yep, that would be the ideal situation, and peace could be made, and Gaza could be rebuilt, and we all hope that those could be the things that can happen. Is it possible? Anything is possible. But that man has a brother that's just as militant as he is. Of course, if he takes it up, he's as marked as he was, because whoever's going to take that, Israel's going after. Amazon up a little bit today. Netflix, okay, after the market. Everybody was, and that's why you were down. The market's gone now. They can't be adding more viewers and so on. They only got 5 million more. And now people will say, well, yeah, that's because they did that with the passwords, and that isn't going to work. And what's their next act, folks? The stock is still strong. They are, just like NVIDIA's, the best of the chips, if you will, in my opinion at least. This is the premier and the best of the streaming, and that's where you look at it from. UAL still going up on the news, as we both know, the buyback of shares. And I'm waiting to hear more of that as earnings season goes on. Are we going to hear more buybacks are going to be coming? That's typical as to what goes on in the last quarter of the year. It's your Christmas gift from companies. Microsoft just sort of drifting around right here. Gold, another stellar day in it. It's acting very, very good. Your NVIDIA up to new highs. Look, you got up to the 140.89 level today. And that's because we saw the Taiwan chip maker go right through the roof. They have so many orders they can't fill them. So it's interesting that the manufacturer of machines out of the Netherlands, their company was weak, but everybody that's making the chips, their business is on fire. Now, we go to China. And here is your China Internet ETF, as they call it. Remember I told you an island, and you see the different gaps happening here. So you're getting into what's called the exhaustion, the blow-off numbers here. Could it go down further? Of course it could. You're in a downtrend. But you know what we were looking for? If it's a complete blow-off, the combination potentially of these averages with the Bollinger Band. And the Bollinger Band's going to jump again tomorrow. So it's going to leave these numbers, and it's going to jump one more time. Maybe where I'm pointing here, maybe there's difference between the 88 and 43. That's how the math will work on it. So that's the numbers where I'm looking for the support. If you haven't yet figured out Bollinger Bands, you have to, in my opinion. I watch the Nigerian brothers, and they go, options, you can't afford not to trade with them. And I know those two for 30 years. At the Merc, everybody knows each other at Chicago Mercantile Exchange, so I've known them. Both of them have been on TV shows that I've had, and we go to charity events from time to time together. And if you live in Chicago, you know everybody in trading. It's really that simple. But to make a long story short, I feel the same way about Bollinger Bands. I mean, they're so integral in understanding when this happens, what it means, the thrust with it. And if you can tie it together with a momentum indicator, you got something. You already know you're in oversold territory. You're nowhere near getting an embedded reading out of the market. So I'd be watching here, and I would be very careful. I wouldn't want to see the market take out the day before's high. You've already had a big break. That could be enough to stir the market. So now you put on all the things you know about trading. You're not looking to come out unless it dives down. But I would say if it gets over Wednesday's high, you'll see people say, all right, enough's enough for the moment. Rivian, well, it didn't re-embed, not yet. And it can't tomorrow. And if you go back and you look, you can see it got up to a 2073, a 2066 level, but a 2498. You lost the embedded reading. So I am wrong if you get under this low here, which I think is 982 or so. If it takes that out, I'm not right in the trade. If it goes up, remember what I told you, I don't think there's a lot of juice in it. I think you'll be lucky now to get to the 1040s, 1050s. The market's got to work its way over that 18-day average to start coming back up. It's not there yet. They're just not getting the cars produced. Lucid is, I hope you looked at what they're doing. They're going to now, if you will, issue more stock. So you get diluted a bit. They're bringing more money into the company. They've got the Saudis with them. The Saudis have agreed to buy 365 million more shares. So they know what they're doing when they're releasing the money, and they're just putting billions in the bank to get the car where it can go. It's going to be, in their opinion, and the Saudis putting a lot of money into it, a car manufacturer that stays around. Well, Rivian would already be in better shape if it had done better in figuring out the parts that it needs. CrowdStrike, I was really hoping it would get back to the 18-day average when it had gotten here overbought and it's in a correction. It could still do it. It's fighting a battle between the 100-day, the 200-day average, that's the gray and the green, and the dashed black line, which is the upper Bollinger Band. Supports in the 294.28 zone. When we come to uranium, you're back over the upper Bollinger Band. The market's over the top of it. It kept the embedded reading. Remember, we were talking here what happened. It managed to keep it. So now you've caught shorts that came out of the market, and they're chasing the market because this is the new hot play. It's a new industry. Every day you pick up the paper, you read, oh, Apple's doing this. Oh, somebody in Amazon's doing this for their data centers. People are doing different things. And nuclear energy, these small cells that will eventually get built. They're not there now. You have to unmothball old plants, which has been done, as you already know. Google's put the money up for that. And they'll have a plant soon so they can run their systems. But this artificial intelligence, which is a game changer, consumes massive amounts of energy, and that energy comes at a cost. So what these centers do that are big companies, they go out and they buy, they seed the money so they can buy the energy and have an energy supply where they're basically paying themselves for the energy. Think about that. It's interesting. When I was looking for the pullback, we're getting it, all right? This goes right along with the other parts of China. The markets realize that China either goes real big or it doesn't do it. We have heard from China that they're going to do a certain amount of money, what they're going to do for everything. They haven't put it to work. It's one thing to say you're going to give $1 trillion of money to do something. It's another that you deploy it. And they haven't figured that out. And the market is beating up everything China in the process until China figures that out. They have to get away from this, and they have to figure out how to clean this mess up. Otherwise, they fall into the Japanese problem. And it's a big problem. You should be studying that and looking at it. There was a great article in Bloomberg today, a podcast. And it talked about this balance sheet, what's going wrong there, and how to resurrect it with ideas. Very interesting. Higher highs, higher lows, Toll Brothers, we were talking problems. Higher interest rates is the nemesis. Your 6.5% mortgages. If you're taking a look, you're now back up over 4% in the 10-year. You're not giving that up at this point. This is not going to let these markets just pick up and run. Tomorrow you do get housing permits and build stacks. Okay. I don't care if they're good or bad, all right? With those interest rates, you've got a problem. You're not going to have people that have homes want to put them on the market. They're going to absorb a higher mortgage. That's a big problem for them. What are they going to buy in a like house? And the home prices keep going up on a national basis. There's pockets. I lived in Florida. I know the pocket that's going to happen there. I lived there long enough where I came in on a dive after a hurricane when nobody wanted property in South Beach and did very well for myself. Then you've got to learn the cycles. Right now, a lot of people are in the wrong part of the cycle. You've got hurricanes, you can't get insurance. Living by the shore is beautiful, but it's very dangerous. You better have money to self-insure. You better have all those funds, the HOAs that are going to be coming up, and you're starting to see this snowball. You got to go inland and hope you can still get insurance because hurricanes, they don't care. They go across that peninsula. When you look at the XLF, you can see what's going on right through here. Market coming right on down. Okay, no, market's still over the upper Bollinger Band. It's strong. That just tells you that it's pulled now the slow stochastics into an embedded state. The first hard break probably gets bought. Market will come out. I think the participants, if the red line closes under 79, until then, I don't think they'll buy over the Bollinger Band. I think they'll wait for the first good break in there. XLI, it's had the embedded reading. You're running it. This is called the Gorilla Glue trade, where every day you're on the band. You're over it. You're back under it. When I come back to the previous chart, you're just staying over it. There's a difference between the two. So pay attention to that as to what the market is. If you start taking out in the industrial sector here, the 138.34 level, it could be a sign that you're going to start weakening a bit, but you need the red line to close under 79. Otherwise, it's still bullish. In the energy sector, I don't think you want to press the short side against what we talked about yesterday. I said you might drop in and hang around the 18, the 100, and the 200-day average. You dropped here on Tuesday, and you've just been hanging there. That's a lot of support. Now, if the market closes under all that, you open the door up to get all the way back to 85.85. So you're at a very important part there. In the gold market, you know I'm bullish. You know I'm bullish silver. And you're up to the upper Bollinger Band. You got to ring the bell and take some money off the table if you haven't done it. If the silver market can now clear right up here, this 30.35 level, I think you'll be on your way to a 29.35 level. I said 30.35. 29.35 level, I think you'll go up to the upper Bollinger Band to 29.62. And I think it can hang here for a bit, but the chart action is bullish. Remember, I did those special reports on gold and silver, and I said on gold it was 3 weeks early. The silver is about where it should be. And in copper, the futures have already gone down to the lower Bollinger Band. If this gets down to it and you're going to jump up in this Bollinger Band tomorrow, I'd be paying close attention, expect some short covering to come in. BND, what can I tell you? The market held an attack of the 100-day average. Didn't get to it. Got very close to it. It lost its bearish Bollinger Band. The market today regained it. So you got to be careful here. Now the market's saying it can come back to 73.59. So be very careful. When you lose the band, the only day you can get it back. Let's go to it now. This is, let me go to Wednesday with you. Come on. I guess it doesn't, well, maybe it, there we go. You lose the band with the 26 reading. The only time you can get it back is the very next day if both numbers are back under 20. Kaboom. And that's what's called a bear trap. All right, a bull trap, because you thought the market was going to keep going up to the 18-day average. I would have thought that, by the way. And once you see that it's grabbing it back, you got to run for the hills, because you're leaving these people trapped up here, and the market can force it back down. You know, just different ways to look at the markets and what they're all doing, and it's very important. The dollar is nonstop bullish. Now, eventually, you know it's going to give some of this up. Don't be the top picker. Bull market running with an enhanced Bollinger Band, which means the flip-flop in the euro, bearish, and just running to the downside. learn how to work with these. And right now, take a moment, don't go away, take a look at this, go to our website, iraepstein.com, and read. Don't buy, read about the Bollinger Band under the courses and make a decision for yourself. I'm Ira. You have a great day. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time, and on a chart, it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein, on the road to your education.